Someone at the gym asked me this week if I'd ever had a trainer. I said no because I'm too afraid that they tell me everything I'm doing is wrong. They said that's okay because everything they say you should be doing changes every 5 minutes. Truth might be defined as the limit of our own understanding. We immediately balk at someone else's reality. We use the floating modifiers of our own reality to define it for ourselves. We just assume it means the same thing to everybody else. Terms like morality, equality, and diversity. We're at one end of the spectrum looking back at each other. Some call us divided, but it could be seen as a way of having a conversation. Currently, some are trying to interject the narrative of dangerous perspectives. It's just another floating modifier. It's not helpful. Instead, there's a convergence of perspectives, starting with the concept that we all have one. There is no good person, bad person. It's a tired model. Dr. Phil has been here in Chicago this week to witness the individual arrests of criminal aliens. I'm glad someone is here to witness it. We all need to be a witness and to witness to each other. 100 years ago, beings from another world were called angels. Now we call them space aliens. It's part of our scientific age. It's the same reality from a new perspective. Welcome to Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. This is a somewhat combined version of Awareness Hour and Political Hour. We've been trying to keep the spiritual and the political separate, but that cat seems to be out of the bag. Maybe it's for a good thing. It shines the spotlight on where we are spiritually and politically. On the weekly call, we've been talking about our capacity and ability to see the larger picture from our limited vantage point. The more we seem to know about one thing, it tells us that we seem to know less about everything else. That's probably where faith comes in on one end of the spectrum and a lot of acrimony on the other. On the political call, we talk about policy, politics, and our constitutional rights, but few of us seem to know much about the Constitution. Currently, the birthright citizen topic is waging. People immediately balk at the idea that people born here are not citizens. We miss the part in the amendment that says under the jurisdiction of the United States. It's heading to the Supreme Court, and eventually they'll interpret its meaning for all of us. Aside from presidential eligibility, anyone born in the US of US parents is a citizen, regardless of where they're born. The same way that a citizen from France who has a child here in the US is giving birth to a French child. Birthright citizenship has more to do with our misunderstanding of the topic than with reality, but it's getting closer to being understood. We have to have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. This week at Washington National Cathedral, Jan Cope said in her sermon that many Americans can't name a single book in the Bible, yet many of us have very strong ideas of what it says in there. On last week's call, Jim Downs said it's all about balance. God's reality is perfect balance. Many of us are trying to impose our version of balance and make it perfect at the expense of God's perfect reality. On the political front, we have Mr. Trump playing both ends of the spectrum, building a thriving oil industry here at home and asking Saudi Arabia to tank oil prices to end the war in Ukraine. He's not married to any particular policy as long as it accomplishes something. At the World Economic Forum, Mr. Trump referred to President Xi of China as a friend, someone we can work with. President Xi represents the polar opposite perspective of us, economically, spiritually, and culturally. But Trump doesn't have a problem with it because Mr. Xi represents almost 18% of the world's population. It's an interesting model we can follow. We don't have to like everyone we call a neighbor, but it doesn't hurt. At National Cathedral, Marianne Buddy made a spiritual plea for a physical reality without offering anything in return. I'm in favor of conflating the two realities, but If it's not accomplishing something, then it's just shaming someone for no reason. The I'm a good person and you're a bad person model has come to an abrupt end. It's time to accomplish something, build something, or get out of the way of the other people trying to do so. At National Cathedral, Jan said we all have eyes to see and ears to hear and a heart to respond. God is asking us to respond now by continuing to be in the conversation, even when the world is telling us we're polarized. If there is a dangerous perspective, telling people that they are polarized is probably pretty dangerous. We can witness to something better, and we can all do that together. If you would like to join us at Coffee Hour, the Awareness Hour is every Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Time, and the Political Hour is every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this video, and I'll be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.